Very interesting, this thing about parasites and how do you say symbionte in English? In English, it's symbiotes, I guess. Translate. Um, yeah, symbiote, right? Yes, symbiote. Have you ever watched the movie Alien? The one that has this alien that is not green, of course, as the normal aliens on the TV. It's a completely black alien that has a tongue, and he basically and does this, right? Like takes his mouth out of his, excuse me, his tongue out of his mouth, and it has this some I don't know. It's like it has some sort of liquid coming out of his mouth, and that is very um, very damaging. That is to say, when that liquid out of his mouth touches something, the whatever it touches evaporates. I don't know if you have seen the movie Alien. Do you recognize it?
No, I
No,
don't. No.
it's very famous, very famous symbiote. And when I watched it, I understood the meaning of symbiote. It's this one. You're going to recognize it. Let me show it to you. Is this one? This creature. Where is it? This creature. A little bit scary, by the way. But have you ever seen the movie like this?
Ah, yeah, I remember.
Alien. Yes, Alien.
Alien.
Yes, Alien. Yes, Alien in Spanish, Alien. It's a very interesting movie, especially the ones that explain the there is some sort of background of these movies, something that I discovered recently, actually, because when I was a child, I used to watch the movies that were about just like the creature, the alien, the symbiote. But later I discovered that behind that, let's say, action movie, there is some sort of mythology. There are a lot of myths. That is to say, there is some sort of um, mythology behind the movie, because the movie it's placed in a war in which these creatures are created by some sort of human gods, and these human gods created these creatures because they wanted to attain perfection. But nonetheless, because of human intervention, those creatures, the aliens, were basically were freed, and then they attacked humans, and then of course they somehow blended with other species and with other races. But the point is that there is a very philosophical background for this movie, because as people normally think that it is an action movie or science fiction movie, but behind that there is a very philosophical background. As I say, there is a mythology in which the movie explains how the author or the director of the movie conceives the war. The director of the movie is called how's this? I think it's James Cameron. Well, I mean, probably James Cameron. I mean, if not, it's somebody else. But the point is, a very famous person, and it's a very interesting movie, especially if you like philosophy. It's something that you're going to enjoy. Well, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here and here. Quizzes. Okay, let's start. All right, here we go. Let's go. Okay, so this is a quiz about active and passive voices in the verbs, right? As we saw yesterday. So this sentence, the officer did nothing about the accident, would be an active or passive sentence with regard to the verb.
Active.
All right. Very good, because we are focusing on the exactly on the agent, the person who is realizing the action, in this case, the police officer. Which of the following revisions would you make to keep the meaning of the sentence and use the active voice? The green dress was worn by Zara. No change. It is already an active voice. The green dress wore Sarah. Sarah wore the green dress. Or Sarah was worn by the green dress. Think about it. Well, what you have to do is basically, what change would you make, or what revision would you take in order to keep the meaning of the sentence and use the active voice? So basically, think about the sentence. Let's think about the sentence first. The green dress was worn by Sarah. Is this an active or passive sentence? First of all, the sentence, the green dress was worn by Sarah. Is this active or passive, Shirley?
The passive.
Exactly, yes, it's passive. Now, if you think about the question, it says, what we have to do is to follow a revision or to make a change in order to keep the meaning of this sentence and to make it active, to use an active voice. So which of these sentences below expresses the same idea but uses the active manner of the verb? Which one would it be?
Tears in yellow. Sarah wore
Sarah
the
wore.
green dress.
All right. Okay, let's see. Very good, fantastic. There you are. Bring cows in. Okay. Surely. All right, fantastic. Very good. Number 3. Which sentence is an active voice? So this is very easy. The boy was told to wait for the nurse. The loose tooth was pulled out. The principal saw the boy pulling on his loose tooth, or the boy was brought to the nurse's office.
Fourth.
All right, the 4th. This is this one. The principal saw the boy pulling on his loose tooth. We're going to read them again later.
Okay.
You're going to see. The windows have been cleaned. What about this one? Passive or active?
Passive.
Very good. Why not? There we are. Number 5. I gave him a book for his birthday. Would this be a passive sentence or an active one?
Active. Active.
There you are. Fantastic. Yes, because I am, right? I gave him the book as a birthday present. Which voice allows writers to use barai and strong verbs in sentence? Now think about this. If you want to express very barai and strong verbs in sentences, which type of sentence could help us? The active or the passive sentences? Think about it. Give yourself a moment to think about it.
Voice.
Which one?
Active voice.
All right.
Yes.
Yes, certainly. The active, because you have a lot of possibilities, right? I was doing this. I did this. I have been. I would have been. Rather, when you have the passive voice, the only thing you have or the only option you have is to use the how is this, the past continuous, right? Do you remind? So yeah, let's continue. The cake was baked by Mr. Crock. Active, passive.
Passive.
Okay,
Yep.
passive. Passive, very good. I need to quizzes and senior passing for the first time. Good memes in the internet. Which voice always includes a form of the verb to be? Remember, we talked about this yesterday. Which forms always includes a form of the verb to be?
Passive voice.
Fantastic, there you are. You've been paying attention. What happens if you say quizzes 3 times? What happens? Which of the following revisions would you make to keep? Okay, this is the same type of question that we received previously. What change would we make if we want to keep the meaning of this sentence and use it in active voice? The race was won. Basically, convert this sentence into an active sentence.
What mean won?
Won means ganó. Or the race in this case,
Pasado,
the
¿no?
race was won. Yes, exactly. La carrera fue ganada. The race was won.
The second, someone
won the race. Okay. Fantastic. Very good. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Number 10. I'm going to use the magic card. Which sentence is in active voice?
Karen sang a sweet melody.
Fantastic. Karen sang a sweet melody. Okay, we're receiving magic cards. Very good. Mastery. There we are. Redemption. All right. Let's see. Which sentence is an active voice? Which sentence is an active voice? Read your options.
The principal saw the boy wearing his loose. The second.
Putting on his loose teeth, right? You know what that sentence means? It means like, el director vio al niño aflojándose el diente. It's a weird sentence. Putting on his loose teeth. During the intermission, okay, during the intermission, our band played several songs. Intermission basically means interlude, right? The time in which you are, let's say, waiting for another presentation to start, the interlude, right?
I'm not sure for that, but probably the refer for the basic.
Okay.
Actually,
yes. The only thing you had to do in this case is to forget about the preface and to read the second part of the sentence, because there was a comma, right? And if you just read the part of that part after the comma, coming, yes, as I say, after the comma, you have seen that it was a very active sentence. Well, let's see this one. The whale was pursued relentlessly by Captain Ahab.
Basic.
Right? Relentlessly. Very interesting word, right? Relentlessly. Which sentence is an active voice?
The Westlake the party by 8 p.m.
All right. Very good. The guests. Okay.
Yes.
No.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. The guests. We're going to write down those words later. The cleric. Do you know what is a cleric, Shirley?
Con K? No, I don't know. What do you mean?
Cleric means clerigo. A clerigo. The clerigo was helping the customer. In this case, el cliente, right? The cleric was helping the customer.
Active.
Right? Very good. Which of the following revisions would you make to keep the meaning of the sentence and use the active voice? Again, the sentence is, the difficult sonata was played by the talented pianist. Excuse me, I think it's pianist. Yes, pianist.
The silent pianist player the typical sonata.
Okay. Pianist. It's pianist because it's piano, right? The piano. Do you know how to play the piano? It must be pianist. All right. My books were returned to me after lunch.
Passive.
Very good. Passive. 17. Which sentence is in passive voice? Sandy made the coffee, or the coffee was made by Sandy?
The coffee was made by Sandy.
Very good. Okay, we are arriving to our last question, number 18. John has been asked to give a speech by the president of the company.
Passive.
Very good. Okay. More magic cards. W party, immunity, and time freeze. The money was found under the floor.
Passive.
There you are. 1,080 points to the pocket. And last question. Which of the following revisions would you make to keep the meaning of the sentence and use the active voice? Now, this is the sentence that is in passive voice. Let us transform it into active. The winning goal for the Tigers was scored by Shim or Sham. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Sham or Shim.
The Tears scored the win. Yeah, yellow.
Okay, there you are. Fantastic. Redemption again. During the intermission, now, our band played several songs.
Yeah, this is active.
Yes. Now let us think about the sentence, because if you see here, this is a preface, right? During the intermission, this is not actually part of the sentence itself. Here is our sentence. Let's say our sentence beginning in order to determine if it is active or passive. Our band played several songs. If you notice, the focus of our sentence is on the thing, in this case, on the organization or association which performed the activity. In this case, what association was it? The band, right? And if you can see, in this sentence is the band, the focus of the attention, and the band is the thing, the association, as I say, that is performing the action. In this case, playing several songs. So given that this is the case, that the agent that performs the activity is the center of attention, this is active, right? Very good. There we are. Okay, fantastic. I think that it was a very good exercise. Very good, Shirley. Congratulations. I think that you got the topic very well. You got it.
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so now let us move on into another topic. Let's go. So let me open this. Here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, there's something else that we that I want us to discuss before we move on to another topic, and it's something that is also part of the active and passive voice of the verbs, but it's nonetheless let's say a subdivision in the topic, because in this case we are going to talk about a specific structure. This is going to be a special structure for us to give advices to people. Now, it's very important to know how to give advices, right? Because normally in our lives we are asked, right, to give our opinion to a personal topic. Our friend comes and says, hey, I want to listen to your opinion on this matter, and we have to listen and to respond, right? So today we're going to learn a very useful structure that we can follow whenever we want to recommend a person to do specifically an action, all right? Google Docs. So that is the use, as I say, of today's topic is whenever somebody comes to us and he wants us to listen to him or to her, and then he also wants us to respond, right, to the question, what should I do? What do you think about it? Give me your opinion, your insight on this matter, on this topic. And then we have to be prepared, not only with a good response, right, and a good recommendation, but also with the correct literary device or means, of course, a grammar means, in order to elaborate our response correctly. So that is what we're going to talk about today, is this thing. Okay, but there were some questions that we wanted to discuss, right? The first one is guest. No, the meaning of the word guest is actually very, it's a very used word. Oh, you have to write like this. It's a very used word. Because well, especially in America, right? Because America is the country that receives more immigrants in the world, right? So they are very used to this word, guest. Guest basically means invitado, right? It means invitado. And when you pronounce it, you are obviating the U sound. I mean, of course, when we are speaking in Spanish, maybe we are tempted to pronounce like guest, right? But in this case, it's guest, just like this, guest. Okay, this like that, like with he de gato, guest, right, like that. Okay, guest. And when we want to, of course, express the same idea or person, but in a plural manner, well, the only thing that we add is, of course, the plural, the generic plural in English, which is s, right? And the pronunciation would change a little bit. Invitado, invitados. And in this case, it would be guests, guests. As you can see, the s is like guests. Let's. It's like making like a serpent, guests. Right? I mean, try to pronounce. Have you ever listened to a serpent? Right? Making their characteristic sound like it's the same. Guests.
Yes.
Exactly. It's actually a very, very subtle sound. But if you listen to Americans, they always pronounce it like that. That is to say, whenever they are trying to express plural, they use that sound. It's not like they say guests, because many people confuse that sound and they say, in order to express plural words in English, you have to add a very long s at the end of the word, guests. But that is not true. The way they pronounce it is like guests. They make that sound. And when you polish that sound, you're going to sound very American. Guests. Right? Try to practice it. Guests. All right, fantastic. Let's continue. Okay, so this is today's topic. Passive and active for advice, for advising. All right. Oh, passive and active. And here actually there is one. Yes. I always forget double S. But well, doesn't matter. We use should, ought to, and had better with the passive to talk about advice. This is what I wanted to explain. That in this case, we're going to work with the passive way, or with the passive voice in the sentence. And we are going to combine our knowledge about passive sentences with one more mechanism, that is these particular models: should, ought to, and had better. These models here are the ones that help us to express not only a passive sentence that we have, of course, already discussed what it means, what is a passive sentence, but it also allows us to express, as I say, a word of advice, a commentary that helps as a recommendation. For example, let us look at this illustration. The Soccer Federation ought to be told right away about Nick's innocence. Look at this sentence. The Soccer Federation ought to be told right away about Nick's innocence. If you notice, this is basically a paradigm of a passive sentence, right? Do you know what is a paradigm, Shirley? Have you ever heard that word, paradigm?
Paradigm? No, I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. So that word, for example, it's a very good word. Actually, it's I have seen that many scholars use it. Paradigm, this one, and it basically means, yes, paradigm. The pronunciation is paradigm, and what it means is paradigma. Do you know what is a paradigma in Spanish?
Como que un punto de vista de una versión, un concepto.
All right. Yes, more or less. In this case, paradigm, it's basically, for example, if you are describing something, let's say you are describing a beautiful person, which one would be the paradigm of a beautiful person? Let's say that, I think that all women agree that, let's say, Leonardo DiCaprio is a very attractive man, right? So we would say Leonardo DiCaprio is the paradigm of an attractive man. By paradigm, we mean the greatest example. Like when you are describing something and you can think about a particular object that illustrates that concept, as you said, because that is the reason why I said yes, more or less. When you think about a concept and there is a particular object that illustrates that concept very well, that is a paradigm. The pronunciation is paradigm, like that. Paradigm. Yeah, paradigm. Yes, it's this one. Paradigm. Yes, paradigm. Pronounce it.
Paradigm.
Fantastic. Yes, paradigm. So as I say, it's basically an object that illustrates a concept tremendously well. Tremendously well. All right, that is a paradigm. As I say, for example, if you talked about the paradigm of an attractive man, maybe you say, well, Leonardo DiCaprio. Or if you think about the paradigm of I don't know, of wonderful shoes, then you would say, I don't know, a Nike Air Force One. Or if you say the paradigm of a good president, I don't know, you say Donald Trump, you say Joe Biden, depending on your political opinion, right? But the point is, as I say, the paradigm, something that exemplifies a concept very well. Okay. Fantastic. That is the paradigm. Now we use have. Okay, as I say, now this is the paradigm of a passive sentence, right? Because this is a passive sentence by definition. That basically, or actually, in this case, we are talking about Nick's innocence, but nonetheless, we are talking about the person who is going to receive the person who is going to receive the information that Nick was actually innocent. Do you remind this story, right? That we saw this when we were discussing last unit about Nick's innocence and how this soccer player or football player, I'm not sure about the sport he played, but the point is that Talia was helping him in order to demonstrate that he was actually innocent, right, of the crime that he was accused about. And well, basically in this case, we are talking about that the fact that Nick is innocent should be informed to the Soccer Federation. But in this sentence, the Soccer Federation, in this case, the agent, or excuse me, it's not an agent, the noun or the thing that is receiving the action is the center of attention, right? Because if somebody goes and informs that Nick is innocent to the Soccer Federation, the Soccer Federation would be the thing or the entity, in this case, receiving the action, because the Soccer Federation would be receiving the information that Nick is innocent, right? In this case, given that we have the Soccer Federation as the center of attention in our sentence, we know that this is a passive sentence, right? It's using the passive voice of the verbs. Now, if you notice, there is something else here. There is a very, very tiny and subtle mechanism that allows us to understand that this is not only a very general and common passive sentence. No, it's something more. What is here as well, it's a recommendation. This is a word of advice, right? The Soccer Federation ought to be told right away about Nick's innocence. This is not only a passive sentence, as I mentioned. This is also a word of advice. Somebody's giving his recommendation, his opinion, his advice on this topic. The Federation ought to be informed or told right away about Nick's innocence. So in order to form this type of sentences, we can use any of these models here. Should, ought, or had better. Let's look at this other illustration. We use have and also must with the passive to talk about necessity. This is another thing. The recording had to be edited. But let us talk about this one first. So for example, if you want to say a word of advice following this technique, there's a structure you need to follow. Let's discuss that structure that you need to follow. The structure you need to follow is this one. Well, basically, as it was the case also in the passive sentence structure, the first thing you need is, well, basically a noun that receives it, right? The receiver, basically. We're going to write it as a receiver of the action. receiver of the action. Then you need, in this case, the model. By model, I mean should, ought, or had better. Receive plus the model plus verb to be. What else? Verb to be. How is this called? Let me check it out. Forgot the title. Past participle. Past participle. And of course, the complement. I think this is it. So the receiver, the model, the verb to be, and the past participle. Let's continue. So let's see. Here we have it. So what is the point here? The point is receiver plus model plus verb to be plus past participle. In this case, what you do is the following. For example, if you want to create a sentence like this one, you should say something like, I don't know, let's say the university ought to be informed about, I don't know, Shirley's presentation, or ought to be aware of Shirley's presentation. This is basically a word of recommendation, right? It's something that I could recommend to somebody. The university ought to be aware of Shirley's presentation. This expression here, ought to be, basically means debería, right? La universidad debería estar consciente o saber de la presentación de Shirley. The university ought to be aware of Shirley's presentation. As you can see, this is a passive sentence because we are using the receiver as the center of attention in the sentence, and also we are using the past participle, right? Ought to be aware of Shirley's presentation, right? Ought to be aware. Well, fantastic. Let's for another one. Let's say Carlos ought to be, I don't know, ought to be, I don't know, let's say banned from the university. Banned from the university because of his dangerous experiments, right? Because when I am in the lab, in my laboratory, I always make very dangerous things. When I am working with my computers and 3D printers and stuff like that. But the point is, Carlos had to be banned from the university because of his dangerous experiments. Is this a word of advice? Yes, it is, because somebody's recommending me, well, in order to be banned, right? It's recommending other persons to ban me from the university, to kick me out. So yes, are we following the structure? We have the receiver, Carlos, yes. We have the model, in this case, ought. We have the verb to be, yes. And we have the past participle, banned from the university because of his dangerous experiments. Let's see one more, and then I'm gonna see if you have understood. For example, I don't know, the classes ought to be recorded for the students to rewatch them later. Are we following the structure? Indeed we are, because look at it. Receiver, in this case, the classes, model, ought, verb to be, here we have it, past participle, recorded for the students to rewatch them later, right? So this is the structure. These are the examples. As I say, every single one of them basically means las clases deberían. Carlos debería. La universidad debería. That is what ought means. Ought means deberíans. I'm going to express it here. Ought means debería o deberías. All right, fantastic. Do you understand, dear Shirley? Any question about this?
Okay. And this structure for the verb to be, that is like debería ser o debería estar. In Spanish.
Sí, debería ser, debería ser. For example, Ser o estar. Well, I mean, the verb to be means the both expressions, right? Ser o estar. So yes, any of them it's possible. In this case, for example, the university ought to be aware is debería estar, right? Debería estar consciente de la presentación de Shirley. In these other cases is ser. Carlos debería ser, right? Baneado, expulsado. The classes ought to be recorded. Las clases deberían ser grabadas, right? Recorded for the students to rewatch them later. So yes, basically, the verb to be in this case, it's possible, excuse me, it's not possible. It's able to express both meanings of the verb to be, ser and estar.
Okay.
Fantastic. Any other question?
No, for the no.
Okay, let's see the should one. So we have should. It's very similar. The structure is the same actually. For example, I don't know, the academy should receive new okay, there's a variation here. I'm going to explain it. The academy should receive new equipment very soon. In this case, the only thing that changes is this one.
They are not happy verb to be.
Exactly. Let's have verb to be. And also, we are not using past participle, if you notice. The academy should receive, let me give you one more example. I don't know, Renato and Carlos should be, well, I mean, yes, it does. Should be, because, well, it depends on how you use it. Should receive, should be. I mean, I'm going to change here. Should be. Yes, the point is that in this case, you can do both things. Which one would be more applicable to our context? I guess that in order to maintain the structure, the second one. Okay, so this one, please don't consider it because, I mean, this is possible, but nonetheless, if I teach you to make sentences like this, you're going to get confused because the should expression or model here allows us to make sentences into different structures because it's a very, very, let's say, multiple use word, but nonetheless, in order for us not to get confused, let us just use it with this type of sentence. Renato and Carlos should be, I don't know, should be noticed for their outstanding presentation. Renato and Carlos should be noticed for their outstanding presentation. Carlos y Renato deberían ser reconocidos por su presentación sobresaliente. As you can see, it's basically the same. Receiver, modal, verb to be, and past participle. Doesn't change, not at all. Receiver, modal, verb to be, and past participle. Renato and Carlos should be noticed. And now, is there any difference in the meaning of the sentence? No. Should and ought are synonyms. They mean exactly the same. There is no difference with regard in your opinion. If you say the university ought to be aware, Shirley, can you listen to me?
No, okay.
Yes?
Okay.
You can
I
listen?
think that's okay. In this moment, that's okay. Before, no, listen, nothing.
Okay, yes. Okay, so I was explaining that ought and should. Here we have two different expressions, right? Ought and should basically mean the same. There is no difference in their meaning. Now, the only difference that I can find between these two terms is their aesthetic application. As I say, what sounds better for you. Because you could say, for example, Carlos should be banned from the university, or you could say instead, alternatively, Carlos should be banned from the university, and it would mean exactly the same. As I say, Carlos ought to be banned, or Carlos should be banned from the university means exactly the same. All right. So
it's the same. The same
yes,
structure.
exactly. Same structure. Same. But as I say, the difference in the use you are going to make of these expressions, it's basically aesthetically. Aesthetical. Well, no, it's aesthetically. Aesthetically, I was right. Aesthetically, because the only difference that exists in this case, it's aesthetic. If you think that ought sounds better, use ought. If you think that should sounds more natural or for the context sounds better, use should. You can use them indiscriminately. They are synonyms, okay?
Okay. Perfect.
So this is for should. All right. Should. Okay, let us give one more illustration here. I don't know, Renette and Carlos and Shirley should be given on a scholarship at Johns Hopkins. Hopkins. Am I writing it good, Shirley? Johns Hopkins like this?
Yeah, that's okay. That's perfect.
Fantastic. Shirley should be given, right? That's perfect. Past participle, excuse me, should be given on a scholarship at Johns Hopkins. Very good. This is it. Now, the last one. Had better. How do we use this one? Had better. We use it in this manner. Carlos had better talked to me. Carlos had better talk to me if he wanted the prize. The structure varies here a little bit. This is again a word of recommendation, but this is more like a complaint. It's a word of exhortation. Do you know what is an exhortation? Exhortación. It's like correcting somebody, right? Because somebody did something wrong, or at least not wrong in a moral sense, but wrong as if he could have done it better, right? As if there would have been a manner in which the person could have acted more appropriately. That is an exhortation. So that is what the use of had better is. It's an exhortation. It means hubiera sido mejor que Carlos me hable si él quería el premio. Hubiera sido mejor. That is what it means. Had better. Hubiera sido mejor. Had better means hubiera sido mejor. Carlos had better talk to me if he wanted the prize. Hubiera sido mejor que Carlos me hable si él quería el premio. Carlos had better talk to me if he wanted the prize. As you can see, this is the meaning. All right, fantastic. Let us continue. What else? So the structure here is this one. We have the receiver. We have, in this case, had better, of course. We have past participle. And that's it. This is the structure. Receiver plus had better plus past participle. Now, more examples. Shirley had better slept more in order to be concentrated on the exam, right? Imagine that you're on your exam and you're not concentrated. So somebody could say to you, Shirley had better sleep more in order to be concentrated on the exam. Hubiera sido mejor que Shirley duerma más para estar concentrada en el examen, right? So this is, again, a word of advice, but also of exhortation, right? Not only advice merely. And are we fulfilling the structure? Yes, Shirley, the receiver, had better Yes, had better. Past participle, slept, and then the rest is basically a complement, right? I slept more in order to be concentrated on the exam. Did you get this one, Shirley? Any
No,
question
okay.
about this? Yes?
Okay.
Let's give one more example. They had better practiced the experiment, well, not experiment, let's say the exercise before the exam if they wanted to get 100, right? They had better practice the exercise before the exam if they wanted to get 100. Hubiera sido mejor que ellos practiquen el ejercicio antes del examen si querían obtener los 100, right? This is what it means. So yeah, had better, hubiera sido mejor, and here you have the structure, and here you have 3 examples. Any question here, Shirley?
No, I don't have a question for the moment.
All right, fantastic. No questions. Okay, so today we're going to continue. Probably we're going to have a quizzes if I can find one, because this is a very well, very unnoticed topic, but nonetheless, it's, as I say, very useful because we are very much constrained during our daily lives to give advice, right? And it's a very interesting topic to know how to give that advice in a grammatically correct manner. So today is September 14th. September 14th, Cochabamba's anniversary. September 14th. I'm going to download this in Microsoft Word. There we are. I'm going to send this to you. Here, September 14th. All right, there you have your Shirley. Fantastic. Okay, so I'm going to take your assistance. Please help me with the traditional poll that we always fill, okay? And I'm going to take your assistance. By the way, today it's Wednesday, so you're gonna be the only one filling the 2 polls for me because I didn't have more classes today, so my students are not going to be filling 2 polls.
Yeah. Okay, I did it first.
All right. Thank you very much. Right now, let's go with the second one, please. Very short, you know. I think it's just 2 questions, something like that. All right, so your assistants. Tengas will let us know. Okay, fantastic. Very good. So thank you very much, dear Shirley. I had a very good time today. So well, we're gonna see you. We're going to be seeing each other tomorrow in order to continue with the classes, okay? And well, we're gonna continue discussing the different topics in this unit, okay? Have a wonderful night and see you tomorrow.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful night.